The film opens with Ethiopian miners digging out an uncut black opal. The camera pushes inside the rock to reveal the gem within. In 2012, Howard Ratner, a Jewish man living in New York, made his living with a store in the jewelry district. He's also an extreme gambling addict who owes money to bookies all over town. He's extremely excited when he receives an uncut opal that he has worked to secure for months from a small Ethiopian Jewish mining community, that he values at around $1 million and is set to sell at an esteemed auction house. He avoids Phil, the muscle for Arno, who is looking to collect on the debt Howard owes Arno. Meanwhile, Demony brings fake watches to Howard for a profit cut, and brings Kevin Garnett, the famous basketball player, into the store. Howard excitedly shows KG the opal he has just received, and Kevin, who takes a huge liking to it, wants to take it with him for good luck in his game. Howard reluctantly lets him take it but takes KG's championship ring as collateral. Howard immediately sells the ring to a pawn shop to make a huge bet on KG's game that night, planning to repurchase it with his winnings. Howard's mistress, Julia, works at the jewelry store and lives in his New York City apartment. Still, at home outside the city, his wife Dina and 3 kids live suburban lives. Dina is fed up with Howard's behavior, never being there for the kids, and plans to tell them they're getting divorced after Passover. Instead of spending time with his kids, Howard watches the basketball game, which he wins the bet on, then goes into the city to sleep with Julia. When Howard is supposed to drop the opal off at the auction house, Demony arrives without it, saying KG wanted to keep it for his next game. Howard demands to go to KG and get it, so they drive 2 hours to where the away game takes place. Demony goes into the locker room but leaves Howard outside, and he is forced to take a bus back to the city, furious. At Howard's daughter's school play, he sees Phil sitting several rows behind him. He asks Phil to meet him in the hallway and then runs for it, but he is caught and dragged into the back of Arno's SUV. They take his watch and clothes, and Howard tells Arno that he won a huge bet and can pay him back now, but Arno reveals that he didn't like Howard making bets with money owed to him. Howard is devastated, and Phil locks Howard into the trunk of his car naked. He is forced to call Dina to run out of the middle of the play and let him out, disgusting her. Demony finally calls Howard to tell him he has the opal, and Howard asks him to meet him at a show for up-and-coming artist The Weeknd, who is friendly with Julia. Howard goes all the way back into the city. Still, Demony tells Howard he doesn't have it, and to chill infuriates Howard. Julia and The Weeknd do drugs in the bathroom, and The Weeknd wants to have sex, but Julia tells him no touch. Howard discovers they are in the bathroom together and assaults The Weeknd, getting him and Julia thrown out of the club. They get into a massive screaming match. Julia tells him he blew a huge sale for her, and he accuses her of cheating. She insists she didn't, but he tells her to be out of the apartment. Howard's extended family has Passover at Dina's father Gui's place, where it is revealed that Arno is actually Dina's sister's husband, leading to some tension. Still, Howard happily tells Gui about the opal, implying to Arno that once it sells for $1 million, he will be paid. Having broken up with Julia, Howard goes to Dina. He tells her they should reconsider the divorce. She laughs and tells him she wishes she could never see him again. On the auction day, however, Howard is furious to see the auction house appraisal puts the opal closer to 100 to 200,000, nowhere near $1 million. KG has arrived to bid on it himself, and since the price has been lowered, Howard begs Gui to bid against KG to drive up the price, promising him he won't have to pay for it. Finally, Gui won the auction. Howard is horrified. He tells Gui he will pay him back once he is paid out, and he now owes Gui the money the auction house took out. Arno witnesses everything and confronts Howard outside, and Phil gives Howard a good beating and throws him into a fountain. Howard returns to his office, bloody wet and devastated, and Julia comforts him, and they reconcile. Howard learns that Garnett is still willing to purchase the opal. As soon as the sale is made, Howard bets the proceeds on a 3-way parlay on Garnett, having a strong performance. He tells Julia to travel by helicopter to Mohegan Sun to place the bet for him. Julia narrowly escapes as Arno, Phil and Nico arrive at KMH. The thugs find Howard in his office and threaten him, but he refuses to call Julia and cancel the bet. Furious, the 3 attempt to pursue her, but Howard locks them between the store's security doors. Howard watches the game on TV while Arno, Phil and Nico remain trapped. Garnett's Boston Celtics win the game, winning Howard $1.2 million. An ecstatic Howard frees Arno, Phil and Nico, but Phil enraged shoots and kills Howard. Arno protests and tries to escape, but Phil kills him as well. Julia leaves the casino with Howard's winnings, and Phil and Nico loot the store as the police are called.